next category on Etsy, which I know a lot of you guys are really interested in, is digital downloads. Now, this is the most passive income category that you will find on Etsy. There's a very, very low barrier to entry. There are so many websites where you can design out there that are like your grandma can do it, like Canva. That means there's a lot of competition. So you may have to compete on price if you do not set your offering apart by choosing a profitable customer and leading them to a higher average order value. You may need to compete on price, and it's really easy to get backed into a corner with digital downloads to where you're forced to compete on price. When you take this angle, you need to focus on working harder to make your shop, your brand, and your customer experience less transactional and more personal or special, much like the supply category. So with the digital download category, you get to choose the level of customization that you want to do. Okay, customization is going to be the way that you can allow for premium pricing and a more personal, less transactional customer service experience. So if you're not willing to do customization, it's going to be a lot harder to compete just based on price. Customization is going to allow you to compete on your service. It's going to give you another competitive edge. So customization does remove some of that passive aspect of this category. But even if you don't have customization, there are always customer service issues. Keeping things super transactional, it's not going to be the way to grow. So really, even if you don't have customization, I do highly recommend a certain level of customer service that will make it not as passive as you maybe intended for it to be. So if you're already communicating with a customer about their item, offering customization, it's not that much more. It's something that I highly recommend considering if you want to really grow this and maximize and optimize the opportunity to do multi-six figures on Etsy. So now maybe you're thinking, yes, I do want to do digital downloads. I do want to be in the digital space on Etsy, but I don't know. I haven't really thought of many ideas. Here are some ideas that do very, very well that you should consider. And I would do more than one idea, right? You're going to have to do a lot more products in the digital space than maybe in other categories on Etsy in order to get the kind of sales volume that I teach how to get. So look at doing party invitations. Highly recommend having a customized option, gift tags, calendars, meal plan templates, coloring pages for kids or adults, wedding planners. I'm not talking about the people, the service. I'm talking about physical printable planners, digital stickers, wallpaper, learning or school materials for your kids, resume templates. That's a huge category on Etsy that I think is going to be just really hot in the future. A lot of people, especially if people start getting laid off, they might feel like they need to revamp their resume. Resume templates, huge. People are really willing to pay for that. One, because that is something that allows them to make money. People are willing to pay for things that help them make money. Ebooks, custom digital portraits, way easier than it sounds. Product labels, that's another great B2B option. If you work with other businesses or boutiques as your customer, it's a lot of repeat business is possible there. Productivity trackers, goal trackers, budget planners, logos. Also recommend having a customization aspect to that. Customized invoice templates. It's another great B2B product for other businesses. In a way, it helps them make money. Wall art, Pinterest templates, Canva templates, super hot right now, but it's very, very saturated. Sleep trackers, class schedule templates, Zoom backgrounds. I'm sure that was much more popular 2 years ago. Website templates and themes. A lot of people are still building their own websites or wanting someone to build a website for them. And that's another product that helps them make money. So people are willing to pay for that. And that's really a service. Wrapping paper patterns, PO templates, purchase order templates, another B2B product that people are willing to pay for. Social media templates, printable cake decorations or party decorations, sewing patterns, construction guides. I've seen so many people go to Etsy for guides on how to build their own teepee toddler bed. You don't want to buy that on Etsy because it's going to cost like $800 to ship. But a lot of these guys are ambitious and they want to go to Home Depot and make something with their tools, with their power tools. So construction guides where they tell you exactly what materials to buy to create this in a step-by-step guide, where to make the cuts, everything. That's a huge opportunity. That is a money-saving product. So remember, things that make someone money or save someone money, they're willing to pay for. Business cards, another B2B product, cosmetic labels. Etsy shop assets. Now that's like banners, listing photos, add-on listings, like rush order fees, paint option add-ons, priority shipping upgrades. That's what I mean by the add-on listings. Etsy shop assets, those help people make money. They're willing to pay for those. Printable cards, baby shower games, table menus, that could be for restaurants or for something like, your wedding. Restaurants, that's a B2B customer. Lightroom photo presets, Excel templates. That's another one for B2B customers. That could be a huge opportunity for you. Mock-ups, flat lays, that helps people make money. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's important to recognize which things you sell help other people save money or make money, because it's going to be so much easier to sell and you can charge a premium for that. Interior design palettes. So many people would kill for an interior designer, but they just can't afford it. It's just out of their budget to pay someone hourly to come into their home. That's a way to save money and get a result that you want. People sell fonts, stock photography, online courses. So how do I choose my digital product? First, you're going to choose a profitable customer that product is designed for, because we're still starting with the customer, even though it's a digital product. Second, we need to look at how we can raise the average order value to help you reach your income goals faster. Digital download shops are notorious for having to price their items at $1, $2, $3. How long will it take you to get to $300,000 in a year if you do that? You're going to have to go absolutely viral on Etsy and completely knock out all the competition. And how long would that take? So it's going to be much more realistic, raising your average order value, your AOV. So how do we do that? We add value within that listing. What does that mean? Let's say it's a listing, it's designed for brides, weddings. You're including invitations, like seating place cards, program for the wedding, a menu. You can have one bundle in there, include all of that. So like total wedding package. You could charge a lot more for that. But within that listing, you have the variations that break it down so people can kind of buy it a la carte. You're able to maybe charge $5 for just the place card templates, but maybe it's $100 for the whole package. When someone is searching on Etsy, they're seeing that picture of the whole bundle, which is really attractive because they're thinking, I just want this all done for me. And they see it $5. That at least gets eyes on your listing, right? And then they'll see the different prices of each option within the bundle and then the bundle price. So that's a great way to add value within a listing. So we talk about bundling and then event packages such as, everything you need for your wedding, everything you need for this birthday party, total package of all the printables, all the downloads that you would need, decorate for a specific event, like a graduation, a birthday, a wedding. Just think about events where people buy decor. Now we are going to talk about the beast. Yeah, I call it the beast. It's print on demand. A lot of people want to do this. People during 2020, a lot of people started getting really excited about this. They saw it as a way to make great money, passive income on the side while they're working from home. This led to a highly saturated market. The barrier to entry is so low. That's what everyone complains about. If you're trying to get into it, you know it. If you're in it, you know it. There's a lot of copycat shops. That's one of the other complaints about it. There's always going to be copycats no matter what category you're in. But in print on demand, because it is so easy nowadays to design, and a lot of people are designing on the same platforms with the same assets, it's really easy to make copycat designs that are just slightly different enough so that Etsy doesn't kick you off. There is oftentimes a race to the lowest price. That can be so frustrating as an Etsy seller. A lot of these categories have a race to the bottom with pricing, but it's discouraging when you feel like you have to always have things on sale. A lot of times in this category, there's the expectations of always having a sale. You'll see a lot of shops out there have a sale going 100% of the time. That's a strategy, and that's not a strategy that I recommend for doing multi-six figures on Etsy. So your goal here, if you're going to do print on demand, is to stand out. And there are 4 ways to do this that we need to focus on. Number 1 is the customer service. Your number 1 job is to provide a premium customer experience. The customers who buy apparel that's print on demand from Etsy, they're not used to that. I'm going to be giving you all the scripts that I use later on in the course that really encourage positive feedback and create a great customer experience. Customer service, you really need to make this less transactional and much more personal. You don't want them to think that you are drop shipping things from somewhere else. You want them to think that you are creating it with your hands in your shop. You want them to feel that way, even if they know that you're not. They know you're doing print on demand. You want them to feel like it's a really personal experience. That's going to set you apart from the other print on demand shops. Number 2, you need to have a unique design aesthetic. I almost would recommend not following other shops too closely. It can be very tempted to have your designs influenced heavily by other shops. What will that do for you? It will make your shop look like a cookie cutter image of another shop. You're going to get nowhere fast if you do that. So what I recommend when you are doing your designs in print on demand is looking elsewhere, looking outside of print on demand for inspiration for your apparel or whatever you're printing on, from outdoors, from somewhere wildly different than everyone else. And that will help you set yourself apart. Another thing you're going to have to do to stand out is to focus on your profitable customer. Most print on demand shops try to be all things to all people. They try to offer something for everyone. At some point, in order to get above a certain level of income, you may need to add in quite a few customer types to the mix of people who you're targeting. But we need to make sure that they're all profitable customers. The customers that we talked about earlier today, that still is going to ring true for print on demand. People who have high income, stable job, higher discretionary income, and people who value their time more than money. The 4th thing to do is customization. Now, I know this takes time and makes it less passive, but if you can add any element of customization to your offering with print on demand, especially when you're starting out, I would absolutely do that hands down. That is going to set you apart. If someone reaches out to you about a t-shirt or something and says, hey, could you add a name to this? Say yes. Create a listing out of it. Make it an option for everyone. Say yes. You're going to have to do a lot more of that in print on demand to stand out and to convert people. So be prepared to offer some element of customization or personalization. The 5th thing, here's a bonus, is having unique photos and not using the standard mockups. You will see on Etsy in the print on demand marketplace that everyone is using the same mockups. It's hard to even differentiate which shop is which. There's really no way to recognize the difference in these shops. So I highly recommend not using the standard mockups, finding either something different or having your own photo shoot. Now, I know if you're doing print on demand, maybe your intention was, I don't want to have inventory. I'm sorry, you're going to have to get a little bit of inventory. You're going to have to buy a couple of shirts yourself. If you want to be able to have some assets to use for marketing, that's the cost of doing business in this category. Just consider it a marketing expense. Pick up a couple that you would wear yourself or that you can give to your daughter or something. But It is the cost of doing business in this area. It's part of the marketing budget. I really recommend not just using the standard mock-ups. Do a photo shoot. You can hire a photographer for an hour to shoot, 50 products. Here in San Diego, I did it for like $250. It was so worth it because the value of that main listing photo, that's what sells. So what other goals should you have here with print on demand? Number 2, you need to increase the average order value. This means looking beyond t-shirts and mugs or tumblers at higher dollar items and offering group items. So group items are like senior class shirts or family reunion shirts or bridesmaid shirts or groomsmen shirts, or even like school spirit shirts. That's been something that I found really a lot of traction in. Look beyond t-shirts. Think of groups of people who would want something to celebrate as an event or a gathering or a certain occasion. Have some listings targeted towards that. Another thing you need to do is offer amazing customer service so that your reviews actually mention your customer service. You want people's reviews not to say, nice shirt, or perfect, what I thought I was going to get. You want to say, Sarah was amazing. She reached out to me right away when I ordered and reassured me of my ship date and everything went smoothly. Like, I would order from Sarah again. You want them to order from you again. You want them to remember who you were, not just, I ordered this shirt from Etsy. I don't even know what shop it was. That's what the pitfall is with print on demand. People just order it from Etsy. They don't even know where it came from because everything looks the same and it's very transactional. So you need to be so amazing with your customer service that they mention it in your reviews. Lastly, I really think you should offer that customization as a way to improve your profitability. I know I've been harping on that, but it truly is a way to increase your margins and set yourself apart from the competition. So now, some of you may be thinking, well, I thought I was going to do print on demand, or I thought I was going to do digital downloads, or, I thought I was going to do supplies or handmade, but can I combine these categories or do I need to have separate shops? I always recommend having one shop whenever possible. Why? Because if you have 2 shops, then your effort in getting traction and momentum is diluted and cut in half. It's going to take twice as much work. You will get results so much faster if you put everything in one shop. So when is it appropriate to separate categories into multiple shops? I would only recommend doing this if your chosen customers are actually conflicting. If they are complementary, keep them together. Even if they are neutral, consider keeping them together. Only split your shops up, your categories up into separate shops if your chosen customers are at odds. I highly recommend using the sections feature of your shop to keep it organized and very shopper friendly, and using your custom sort feature to choose where in your multiple pages of products things lie. So I would personally keep my less profitable items later on in my results of my products. Now, when talking about your products, I cannot skip this part about micro niching. This is a big mistake that I don't want you to make because it's going to limit you. It's going to prevent you from hitting that multi-6 figures if you fall into this mistake. And the mistake is micro niching too soon in your shop, because this is going to close you off to profitable opportunities. If you focus on serving a specific customer, you don't need to rely on micro niching. Do not micro niche too soon. Otherwise, it's easy to miss the mark and think that we know what the customers want. Then we end up seeing a softened demand because we were a little bit off base, because we weren't focusing on the customer first. We were focusing on the product first, micro niching into a specific product. Micro niching also, it does not protect yourself as well as having a profitable customer. So when the economy is down, you're not as protected when you micro niche because you're not focusing on selling to a profitable customer, selling to someone who has money to spend. So here is an example of this. Let's say the category is pet supplies. The subcategory would be pet apparel. And let's say the niche is dog accessories. And now the sub niche, what we have micro niched down to, is specially designed, customized dog tags. What's the problem with this? You are more connected and focused on the product than the customer. So what if your sales drop in your specially designed customized dog tags? What if your sales drop? How will you know how to pivot? How would you know what is going on with your customers and why they stopped buying? And how would you know what products to add in? Because you're so focused on the product, not a specific profitable customer who's always going to have money to spend, you don't know what to do when your sales drop. You don't have a direction to go, and you have to react versus anticipate and be proactive. Now, there's a time for micro niching. We recommend not micro niching until you are more mature and highly scaled in your business. So going too narrow too soon can close doors of profitable opportunities, and it can disconnect you from your customer, which needs to be your number one focus. It really takes about 6 months of time listening to your customers through their shopping behavior. That's how they're communicating with you, to fine tune your offerings, and then you can focus on micro niches. But if you micro niche too soon, before they're telling you what they want through their purchasing behavior, then you're missing opportunity. The purpose of micro niching is establish you as an authority of a market. So you don't want to try to claim the authority of something that's too small too soon, because you might repel other people and customers who see you and think that you're not for them. Here's an example. If you become the authority in and become known for the micro niche of gag gifts for the workplace or your coworkers, that really is a niche. It may repel customers who are shopping for something that is actually a nice, thoughtful gift. It's a huge missed opportunity, because gifts for coworkers and gifts for bosses, that's a huge category. What % of people who are about to spend money in that category want it to be like a sarcastic gag gift? We're not saying never micro niche, but we're saying don't do it prematurely.